you worrying tirelessly about this latest strain of the COVID pandemic? Struggling to find any hope, or even curious as to what a future may look like in tomorrow's world? Looking for any hope and clasping at straws, hoping that somebody will hand you an olive branch? Well, you're here in the right place. On today's episode of Going Deeper, we're going to look at 4 specific things that you can do right here, right now, to not just improve and reduce the risk of catching COVID and being really sick with it, but also what you can do to improve your overall well-being and your overall state of mind. So welcome to today's show.
Welcome to today's episode of Going Deeper with John Morris. Join the show that tackles the topics that many around the world struggle with on a day-to-day basis. From mental and physical health to emotional and spiritual well-being. But that's not all. John also shares his teaching on more focused topics, such as anxiety, self-image, gaining employment, the importance of educating oneself, developing a deeper spiritual connection, mental and physical well-being, and so much more. Want to be the best you can be? You're in the right place. And now please welcome Mind, Body and Soul's very own John Morris.
Hey folks, and welcome to another exciting episode of Going Deeper. I am your host as always, John Morris, the psychologist in training, the artist, author and personal development coach. It's wonderful to be here with you this afternoon, wherever you are watching this. I want to remind you that this is the show that ultimately helps you get from where you are to where you want to be, step by step, and hopefully with simplicity. We're always reminding you that we never teach on anything that we don't have first-hand experience in ourselves. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's talk about and turn our attention to today's episode, shall we? Today we're talking about COVID. It's the first video that we've really done about COVID. And there's so much that's been written, so much that's been talked about, and so much that's been, presented based on COVID that's, sometimes very questionable, shall we say. Recently, my business partner in Teen Life Coaching, Laurie Bischoff, and myself, we did a show that talked all about the pandemic and all that was going on, ultimately what we can do right here, right now. Laurie and her family had a brief encounter with COVID. I've known many people and possibly had a brief encounter with it myself. So we've got a degree of expertise with which we're able to talk about. The reason that we bring this up is because there's so much concern about and so much fear, I suppose, with regards to the vaccine. What they should do, what people shouldn't do, should they take it, shouldn't they take it. First of all, I want to tell you that I'm not here, to make that decision for you. I can't, nor would I even attempt to make that decision for you. But I am here because we can provide at least some step-by-steps to hopefully, help you make an informed decision yourself. So, what are some of the things that you can do during this time of uncertainty and fear and mass panic to really keep your own head? Make sure that you reduce the risk of getting ill, but also what you can do to improve your overall wellness. Well, the first thing that you can do that the doctors suggest, and this is the experts, that you should do is to improve and maximize your metabolic rate. Now, what does that mean? That means basically moving around. Metabolic is short for metabolism, and it is important that you're moving around, that you're at least walking, that you're doing some form of physical activity, for between 15 and 30 minutes per day. This is not new information. This has been out for a very long time. But you've got to take action on it. That's the basis on so many things that we teach here. You can teach and you can learn the greatest lessons known to man, but if you don't act upon them, it doesn't matter what you do. So you've got to do some form of exercise. Me personally, I love being in the gym. I love having the muscles. I love, looking good, because when I look good, that's a reflection when I feel good. And it's also something that, when I'm teaching health and fitness as well, when people look at you and you've got the muscles, you've got the presence that's there, that really has a big thing. The other things that my wife and I love doing is going outside and walking. We'll either go on a hike, we'll go on a simple 20-30 minute walk where we just walk hand in hand and we're talking to each other, and that's our time together. But the main thing that it does is to get your metabolism moving. It gets your energy flowing, because things that are dormant tend to be able to breed bacteria, and especially if you've got heat in the room as we head into the winter. So that's the first thing that you can do. The second thing you can do is to up and maximize your vitamin D level. Now, what does that mean? Well, vitamin D is basically what comes from the sun. When it's on our skin, it's what makes us feel good, it's what makes us feel warm and cozy, and it releases a whole amount of really, really positive things. So you want to be out in the sun, so the experts have been saying for between 30 minutes to an hour. Now I know if you're here in the UK or if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, that's going to be a little bit harder as we head into winter. So that means that whereas you're not getting enough of, or you're not getting as much vitamin D from the natural source, which is the sun, then you've got to supplement that. So that means going out and purchasing some high quality supplements or adding more vitamin D into your diet, and that can be done through a number of different sources. Basically, do your research. You can Google it, you can do your own research. Sources of vitamin D. It's no different than anything else. When you turn something into a study, that's when you become confident in it, and that's when you can teach on it, which is part of the reason I love to study every single day. I digress. So that's the second thing you can do. So increase your metabolic rate, which is moving around, and the second thing you can do is obviously with vitamin D. The third thing that you can do, and a lot of people don't particularly like this because they all like the comfort foods, but is to really reduce junk food. So that means processed food, that means your takeaways, all of that kind of stuff. That is really, really important because it doesn't do your body any good. And I know it's very easy to get into that system. Some of the research that I have conducted and I've looked at during a period when I was unwell was all about how the junk food really has a massive hold over us. The United States, Scotland, the UK are all up there in the top 5 levels of obesity. Here's the crazy thing, folks. When you're obese, it means that your body is slowing down in terms of your metabolic rate, in terms of your thought processes, in terms of your heart's having to work much faster and much harder. It's creating more stress. So an effort has to be made to reduce the amount of junk food that's there. And what I mean by that is, your trips to McDonald's, KFC, Burger King, the salad dressing, all the other stuff that's there. If you want more information on, how to really develop a healthy lifestyle, Laurie Bischoff and myself, we run a weekly life coaching session, I guess you'd call it, we do it via Patreon, and you can get in touch with us. And Laurie Bischoff is a food and health nutritionist who has been studying health and nutrition for the last 40 years now. I'm a former bodybuilder as well as not only a mental alignment coach. So there's lots of areas there that we can help with, and you can get in touch with us. Just drop us a message in the comment section below. Let us know that you're interested in, making those simple changes. We're not talking anything, revolutionary or anything, hardcore here and throwing the baby out with the bathwater, as we say in Scotland. But by making those small changes, and removing one thing. So if you're eating KFC, for example, or takeaway 5 times a week, and we've had people that do this, then we try and get you down to 3 times a week initially, but we want to replace it with maybe a chicken Caesar salad, and limited dressing. Replace it with nuts. Replace it, if you're drinking fizzy juice or pop or cola a lot, then you want to make sure that you're trying to bring that out and replace that with, ideally with water. Water is a very sacred thing. Believe it or not, 70% of your body is made up with water. How it is stored and how it is packed has a massive effect, and it's the same with your food. So for example, I will only drink water out of bottles that are like this. I do not drink water that's out of plastic bottles, because the plastic enzymes are actually into the water, especially if it's been heated, which then goes into your body, and it means basically that your body has in its DNA core, elements of plastic, which is not something that you want, and that creates all sorts of issues and toxins. And it's basically, it's stored in this, ideally, it's clean, it's good water, and that again, everything that you put into your system, everything that you put into your body, you want your body ideally to, really serve you and to serve you well. If it isn't serving you and serving you well, then you've got to ask the question of, what are you choosing to do? So that's really, really important, that you try and really reduce, the junk food that you're taking on, the processed food that you're taking on. And if you are overweight, just know that it does make you more prone to illnesses, COVID, all of that kind of stuff. And I don't say that to scaremonger you. I say that because that's medical research that's been done over many, many years. Not just like the vaccine that's been produced like that, but it's been done over many, many years, and it's important for yourself and for your longevity that you find ways of reducing that. A lot of people now are on so many medications, especially in the United States, that cost hundreds and hundreds of dollars every single month, and that has become the norm, but that is not normal. That is not healthy. So it's really important that you, even now, take steps to really reduce that, as we covered in a couple of shows, and one most previously regarding bipolar and mental health disorders. When people get put on these medications, it's almost like they believe it's a death sentence and they have no power to do anything. I'm telling you now, you do have the power to do something, and it isn't as big a task and as big a job as people think. You can reduce, your cholesterol, you can reduce your weight, you can reduce a lot of things, and you can make those healthy lifestyle choices. The final thing that you can do during this crazy time to really, really help yourself is to remove vegetable oils that people cooking. Laurie can tell you better than I can for sure, but vegetable oils have a high level of toxicity within them, and when people are cooking in them, or people are cooking with them, food in them, it really creates a lot of toxic buildup into your system. So it's really important that you do the research of, what kind of oils you're cooking with, because some, like I say, can be so toxic. Some can be, completely fine, but some can be absolutely lethal and toxic for your body. I think the core message, folks, out of all of this, if I could leave you with anything, is you've got to do your own research. All the information is out there. It really is out there, and when you make these simple changes and you study these simple changes, you actually realize this isn't as big a task as what you first thought it would. And it's sometimes a case of, swapping a KFC for, a chicken Caesar salad or a bacon Caesar salad, so you're getting some greens into your system. Which, when you start doing that, your body's going to thank you for that. The weight is going to start disappearing, and it's really going to make a big difference. Now, people can look at me and say, well, John, you've always been, since we've known you, the big rippling muscle guy, and that's probably one of the things I'm most known for. But the reality is that I was a youth worker up until 2016. When I finished with youth work, and I wasn't running around as much, and I was working more in the office, I started to notice that it was very easy for me to turn, this, rippling muscle into fat cells, because you're not moving around as much, you're not exercising as much, and whereas I've gone, and your metabolic rate will also drop because it's not needed as much. And that's why you find with a lot of athletes, when they've trained, and then all of a sudden they stop training, a lot of things turns to fat, a lot of things turn to, flabby, and the muscle loses its elasticity. Easy for me to say, elasticity, because it's not needed to be as tight and to be as strong as what it was before. So that's why it's really, really important. So just to recap, folks, the 4 things that you can do during this crazy time to reduce your risk of COVID, to hopefully build up some good antibodies, but also so as if you do get it, it's not going to be as stressful and difficult. Is number 1, really try, make a strong effort, start getting discipline, and if you need help, get in touch with us. Laurie and myself, this is what we do. This is what we specialize in. Laurie, with her nutrition, can definitely help you, and that's part of our goal as well, to really help folks. So get on top of weight loss and your diet. That's a big thing in terms of putting those healthy things in. The second thing is obviously with your vitamin D. If you aren't getting it from the sun, which in Scotland in about a month or so, we probably won't be very, very much, then you've got to make sure you're taking it as a supplement, because that's also going to help eradicate the winter blues. That's a big thing, and we'll talk about that in another episode for sure. So weight loss, managing your weight. eradicating junk food, and getting on top of your vitamin D. That's a big thing. Getting rid of cooking oils, or certainly reducing them, finding out what the healthy oils are to cooking. That's a big thing. And finally, your metabolic rate. And like I say, it doesn't have to be a big thing. It can be going for a walk around your local neighborhood. It can be walking up and down your stairs. Something that increases your heart rate, because what's happening when you increase your heart rate is your blood is flowing backwards and forwards, and the faster that it moves, the better it is. And when you can increase your metabolic rate and your flexibility with that, that is going to be something that if you do, and you find this all through history, if you study history as other business associates and I do, and you love history like I do, then you understand all the way through history, the ones that have gotten sick are the ones usually where it's been, they haven't looked after their health. There is a lack of vitamin D. There is, stuff to excess, and ultimately where they're not exercising, there isn't any metabolic rate that's going. And what I mean by exercise is not being in the gym for 2 or 3 hours, but sometimes just walking. Walking is a really great way to strengthen and really tone up your core. And you'll find, as I did to finish off the story, when I was talking about finishing youth work and moving on, what you find is when you make these simple changes, it didn't take me long to notice I'd reduced weight around my stomach and size around my stomach. Muscles felt bigger, muscles felt tighter, so I was getting both the really good stuff from the foods, but also the really good stuff for me from the gym. All this is stuff that you can do by yourself. You can do it at home. You don't need somebody, that is going to coach you through it. But if you need somebody for accountability, then you can reach out to myself and Laurie at Bischoff and Morris International, which is the name of our personal development coaching company that we run between us. Or you can reach out to me directly. I have spaces available for coaching, both one-on-one and in-group coaching, and I'd love to hear from you. And aside from that, I hope this video has really been helpful, and it provides you with 4 simple steps that you can do during this crazy time with COVID and the pandemic and everything else. So if it has, let me know in the comment section below. I would love to hear from you, and if you've got any comments, ideas, questions, or topics that you would like me to cover, please do get in touch. I would love to hear from you, and we can have some fun covering your very own topic. So folks, that's it for this week's episode of Going Deeper. I have been your host, John Morris. This has been Going Deeper, the show where we teach you, hopefully step by step, how to get from where you are to where you want to be, step by step and simply. And as always, don't forget to like, share and subscribe, tell a friend, because it could be the very thing that helps them in their time of struggle. Until next week, take care, God bless, and I will catch you soon. Do you, your son or daughter, struggle with direction, clarity and purpose? Maybe you struggle with anxiety, maybe you struggle with self-esteem or confidence issues. Maybe you've got great ideas, but you've no idea how to get from where you are to where you want to be. Don't worry, you're not alone. People around the world struggle with these issues. Hi there, I'm John Morris. I'm the coach to the creative mind, and I'm also a psychologist in training. For the last 2 decades, I've worked with people from all walks of life and all over the world, all with a wide variety of issues. I've worked with people from youth groups to adult education to people dealing with day-to-day living issues. And each one of them has an amazing story to tell, and we've helped them get clear as to where they are and clear as to where they want to be. And I want to help you too. Unlike a lot of life coaches and therapists that like to drag things on and leave you dangling on the carrot, I want to make sure that each and every single time that we meet and have a life coaching session together, that you never ever leave saying, man, that was a waste of time, or I didn't get the value that I desired. I am committed to making sure that each and every single time we meet, you are one step closer by the time we finish to a goal that you have in mind. So why should you work with me? Well, let me tell you, as I said, I'm committed to making sure that I provide value, that I provide something that's step by step and easy to follow. I'm also a fantastic listener. I've been blessed with the gift of listening, and I love to listen to people, their stories, their dreams, their desires, because there's nothing more energetic and passionate to me than when a client gets their first desire, or they get that goal, or they hit that big target, or whatever it might be. And also, as the trifecta, I am committed to you, to helping you take action. So whether or not it be deciding on the university you want to go to, deciding on the course that you want to be at, helping you get excited and passionate about your work environment, whatever it might be, I am committed to helping that happen. I'm also committed, if you need to shed some pounds, if you need to gain some muscle mass, if you need to, I don't know, develop your self-esteem, I'm committed to helping you take action and following a step-by-step plan of action that we can put together. But now, folks, I want to tell you about the early bird special offer that we are launching right now. It is for 10 people and 10 people alone. That's right, if you are interested in having life coaching sessions with me one-on-one, 10 people have the opportunity to do that, and we're looking to help these people change their lives completely. We take ages 14 and upwards, so if you're interested in learning how to get from where you are to where you want to be, to really develop that passion, to live a life that you enjoy as opposed to a life that you wake up and think, how to develop and change your mindset from maybe a negative one to a positive one, understanding what fuels your mindset and understanding what creates the kind of life that you want to live, then get in touch with me today. I would love to hear from you. As I say, this is open only for 10 people, and once it's done, it's done. So click that box below, get in touch, let's have a conversation backwards and forwards and see if we're a fit for each other, and I look forward to working with you. Have an amazing day, folks. Take care, God bless, and I will see you soon.